students! I am delighted to be at your presence this morning. For this day, we are going to be learning about activity-based costing and management. Going back to our previous lessons, we've learned that traditional costing uses broad averages for assigning the cost of resources uniformly to cost objects. Now, in order to solve this problem, we can make changes in order to provide better measurement of the cost of overhead resources used by different cost objects. Introducing the activity-based costing system. Activity-based costing or ABC system allocates overhead costs to multiple activity cost pools and assigns the activity cost pools to products by means of cost drivers. Now, if you're wondering what cost drivers and activity cost pools are, let me give you their definition. In order for you to have a better understanding about cost pools and cost drivers, I will provide you with some examples which are now shown on your screen. Now, if you are wondering how to implement the activity-based costing in a company, here are the steps to do so. Step 1. Identify costly activities required to complete products. Step 2. Assign overhead costs to activity cost pools. Step 3. Calculate activity rates. The fourth one is assign overhead costs to cost objects using the activity rates and activity measures. And lastly, step 5, we're gonna prepare the management reports. Now here is a sample problem in order for us to learn how to calculate the overhead costs using the ABC system. Allow me to read the problem shown on your screen. Assume the Busy Ball Company makes two types of bouncing balls. One has a hollow center and the other has a solid center. The same equipment is used to produce the balls in different runs. Between batches, the equipment is cleaned, maintained, and set up in the proper configuration for the next batch. The hollow center balls are packaged with 2 balls per package, and the solid center balls are packaged 1 per package. During the year, Busy Ball expects to make 1 million hollow center balls and 2 million solid center balls. Estimated direct labor costs for the year are $1,512,000, of which $378,000 is for hollow center balls and $1,134,000 is for solid center balls. Now, as you've noticed on the third sentence, some process of the production were mentioned. And yes, you're right. These are our activity cost pools. The overhead costs incurred have been allocated to activity pools as follows. Let me read. Purchasing of materials, $200,000. Setup of machines, $350,280. Packaging, $300,000. Testing, $270,000. Cleaning and maintenance, $288,540. And the total overhead costs are $1,408,820. Now, these amounts are already given in the problem, so you need not to worry about calculating every single one of them. But you still need to take note of this because these will be very important in the following questions. Okay, so now, here are the things that we need to compute for this problem. Requirement A, compute for the overhead rate per unit of hollow and solid center balls using traditional costing. Requirement B, compute for the total product cost of hollow and solid center balls using traditional costing. Requirement C, overhead rate per unit of hollow and solid center balls using ABC. And lastly, requirement D, total product cost of hollow and solid center balls using ABC. Now don't you worry guys, because I will be teaching you how to solve these problems step by step. Okay, first requirement, we need to compute for the overhead rate per unit of hollow and solid center balls using traditional costing. Step 1. Calculate overhead per direct labor dollar. So since this is traditional costing, there is a formula in order to get this. It is total overhead costs over total direct labor dollars. So all we have to do is substitute this with their corresponding amounts. For the total overhead cost, we've derived this from the total of the activity cost pools that was given in the previous problem. For the total direct labor dollars, this was also given in the problem stated earlier. So, $1,408,820 divided by $1,512,000 is equal to $0.932 per direct labor dollar. And that is our overhead cost per direct labor dollar. Step 2, we need to allocate our overhead cost. In order to do that, we need to multiply the amount that we've derived earlier, which is the overhead cost per direct labor dollar, by the per unit direct labor dollars. For the hollow center balls, we have 0.932 multiplied by $0.378. And for the solid center balls, we have 0.932 again, multiplied by $0.567. Now, if you are wondering where did we get the 0.378 and the $0.567, these are the per unit direct labor costs of hollow and solid center balls. In order to get this, we need to divide the estimated direct labor cost for the year of the two products, which is $378,000 for the hollow center balls and $1,134,000 for the solid center balls. Next, we need to divide these amounts by their corresponding estimated production volume for the year as well. These amounts are also given in the problem. So now that we have everything, we can now compute for the overhead rate per unit of the two products. For the hollow center balls, it is $0.352 overhead per unit, and for the solid center balls, it is $0.528 overhead per unit. Next is requirement B. We need to compute for the total product cost of hollow and solid center balls using traditional costing. So this is very simple, guys. We just have to remember this format and then put in their corresponding amounts. First is the direct materials per unit, then the direct labor per unit, the overhead per unit, and then the sum of those three is the total product cost per unit. Next is we need to multiply this by the number of units, and then we will derive at the total product cost. Then we just have to sum up everything. Then we will derive at the answer of $730,000 for the hollow center balls and $2,190,000 for the solid center balls. This is now our total production cost. So we now know how to solve for the overhead rate per unit and the total product cost using traditional costing. Let's now move on to the ABC system.
So before we move on in computing the cost per unit and the total product cost of hollow and solid center balls using the activity-based costing, we have an additional information to the problem. So in your screen, you can see a table. So by analyzing the activity pools, the accountants and production managers have identified the cost drivers, estimated the total expected units for each product, and calculated the unit cost for each cost driver. So the table consists the activities, its cost driver, the total expected units per cost driver, the total cost, and the unit cost per cost driver. So each activities has their own cost driver. In purchasing of materials, its cost driver is the number of purchase orders. In setup of machines, its cost driver is the number of setups. In packaging, it's the number of containers filled. In testing, it's the number of tests. And in cleaning and maintenance, it is the number of runs. So for us to compute the unit cost per cost driver, we just have to divide the total cost to the total expected units per cost driver. So for example, in purchasing of materials, its total expected units per cost driver is 100, while its total cost is $200,000. So if you divide the $200,000 to 100, it would equal to $2,000 as its unit cost. And that is how you will do with the remaining activities. You just have to divide the total cost to the total expected units per cost driver to get the unit cost per cost driver. In the next slide, there is another table that shows the activity by product. So as you can see in the table, the column of activities, cost driver, and unit cost was already discussed and given in the previous slide. So in this table, the additional information is the expected use of hollow center and solid center balls. So in this table, we're just gonna compute the cost assigned to hollow center and solid center. And we're gonna do that by multiplying the unit cost to the expected use. So for now, let's just focus to the hollow center balls column. So in purchasing, the unit cost of $2,000 was multiplied to 50, which equals to $100,000. In setup, the unit cost of $1,390 was multiplied to 126 and we got $175,140. In packaging, the unit cost of 12 centavo was multiplied to 500,000 and we got $60,000. In testing, the unit cost of $90 was multiplied to 1,000 and we got $90,000. While in cleaning and maintenance, the unit cost is $1,145 multiplied to 84 and we got $96,180. So if you compute all the totals in the hollow center balls column, we got $521,320 as its cost assigned. In solid center column, we also just need to multiply the unit cost to the expected use of solid center balls. So for example, in purchasing, the unit cost is $2,000 multiplied to 50, which is equals to $100,000, the same as the hollow center. In setup, the unit cost of $1,390 was multiplied to 126 and we got $175,140. In packaging, the unit cost of 12 centavo was multiplied to 2 million and we got $240,000. In testing, the unit cost of $90 was multiplied to 2,000 and we got $180,000. And lastly, in cleaning and maintenance, the unit cost of 1,145 was multiplied to 168, which is equal to $192,360. And if we add all the totals in the solid center column, we got $887,500 as the total cost assigned in solid center balls. Since we are done computing for the cost assigned to hollow and solid center balls, we can now compute for the overhead rate per unit using activity-based costing. So the formula is dividing the overhead cost assigned to the number of hollow and solid center balls produced. So for now, let's focus in the hollow center balls. So the overhead cost assigned to hollow center balls was equal to $521,320 divided by 1 million as the number of hollow center balls produced, which is equals to $0.521. So this 1 million as the number of hollow center balls produced was already given in the problem. So next, in solid center balls, its overhead cost assigned is equal to $887,500 divided to 2 million as the number of solid center balls produced, which is equals to $0.444. So in this case, the unit cost for a hollow center ball is equals to $0.52 and the unit cost for a solid center ball is equals to $0.44. Let's move on in getting the total product cost of hollow and solid center balls using activity-based costing. We have here direct materials per unit, direct labor per unit, overhead per unit, the total product cost per unit, number of units, and total product cost. So, in the problem, the direct materials per unit was not given, so we're just going to leave it blank. So to get the total product cost per unit of hollow and solid center balls, we're just going to add the direct labor per unit to overhead per unit. So in hollow, $0.38 plus $0.52, we got $0.9. In solid, $0.57 plus $0.44, we got $1.01. So now, if we get the total product cost, we're just going to multiply the total product cost per unit to the number of units produced. So this number of units produced in hollow and solid center balls was already given in the problem. So in hollow, $0.9 times 1 million is equals to $900,000. In solid, $1.01 times 2 million, we got $2,020,000 as the total product cost. We are done with the computations. So for now, let us identify which product is overcosted and undercosted. In hollow center ball, the overhead per unit under traditional costing is less than the overhead per unit using activity-based costing. So therefore, this product is undercosted. In solid center ball, the overhead per unit under traditional costing is greater than the overhead per unit under activity-based costing. So therefore, this product is overcosted. Under the concept of cost cross-subsidization, when the company uses traditional costing, it undervalues the hollow center balls by $170,000, while it overvalues the solid center balls by the same amount. The undervalue of one product is being transferred to the other products while overvaluing it.
Moving on, let us now focus on the decisions for which ABC information is useful. The first one is pricing and product mix decisions. The ABC method provides better costing strategy. This will give you accurate decisions for pricing and product mix. This is a vital part since it will be a roadmap to making multiple sales and therefore increase profitability. Second, it influences the product design decisions in the sense that it gives better option to the cost decisions for raw materials used, labor, and of what type of machinery is suitable for each product. Third, ABC method is the most accurate in allocating cost, and therefore, implementing this method will reduce cost and leads to process improvement. Therefore, based on those information, ABC method helps in the decision for overall planning and management. In addition to that, there are also benefits in using ABC method. Amidst of those benefits that I gave you, ABC method also has limitations. The first one is that it can be expensive. Why? Well, ABC method is more complex than the traditional costing, and if not done properly, it can be more expensive. Now let's move on to cost hierarchies. Cost hierarchies is a classification system that assists in the allocation of cost. Now let's talk about activity-based management. ABM is an extension of ABC from a product costing system to a management function that focuses on reducing costs and improving processes and decision making. It is a refinement of activity-based costing used in ABM is the classification of activities as either value added or non-value added.
And that's it for this video! Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you guys learned something from us. If you do, hit the like button and share this to your accountancy friends. Till next time, bye!